always wanted to circumnavigate the world. As a kid, I've always wanted to sail completely around the world, do a circumnavigation, and I still want to do it. And now we have, I have a husband, 3 kids, and I still want to do it with them, just about. I think if you're travelling and you go to remote places, you get to see amazing things, landscapes, marine life, fauna, flora, exploring all these different places. That's kind of what I want to do with the kids. Like, it'll be like a voyage of discovery. We know roughly the route that you might take. It's a fairly standard route that follows the trade winds. We don't know how far we'll get, but there's so much to see out there, and it's a great way of doing it. Making that journey as a family, doing it as a team, seeing how the kids can cope with their own responsibilities. That's another thing. I think there can be so many benefits from that maybe we can't even describe at the moment. When you're out on a boat, you don't have an electricity supply or a water supply or gas supply. A lot of people will use a water maker to make their own water. You will use solar power and wind power. And occasionally you will have to use a generator, which means getting fuel. But the idea of being self-sufficient, and even sometimes catching your own fish and trying to source your own food in different countries, where do you get it from? Or do you do an exchange with people? And I think that also can teach children a lot, because I think children are very detached nowadays from where things come from. Everything's provided for them. Teaching the kids to be more appreciative, actually, of where things come from, and actually having that motivation themselves. If they do this, then they get a result. And I think it's very difficult to teach a child that, but when they experience it and they realise that there is a limited resource of everything, I think they really learn that, and I really want to teach my children that. So the idea of living autonomously without a school, without all the resources that we have at a flick of a button, I think it can be nerve-wracking in some ways, because you are left to fend for yourselves, but I'm excited about that as well. Without having the school, that makes me more nervous, because I think the teachers are wonderful, they do a great job, and their kids love being with other children. So we're going to have to provide that. That will be more tricky. But I'm hoping that the world will become our children's classroom, and they will learn from the world, from the different cultures, the different ways that people live, as well as sitting down and doing their maths and English on the boat. So we're looking for a boat that most importantly is seaworthy, because we won't just be sailing in light weather conditions. There will be sometimes heavy weather sailing. So it's got to be seaworthy, especially when we're taking our kids with us. It's obviously a big responsibility. We also need a boat that can accommodate us all, as well as extra people when we go on long ocean passages. So we need a boat with at least 3 cabins, one for us and 2 other cabins. Ideally, we'd have a boat with 4 cabins, but it's very rare to get a boat of that size that we can afford. The other thing is there's a lot of things we need on it. We need to have a water maker, we need to have a generator, we'd like to have wind power, we'd like to have an SSB radio, a sat phone. There's loads of things we would love. Obviously everything costs money, and we have a budget. So the way that we can afford this is because we've lived in tiny little places, doing them up, selling. Got to our final house where we've divided it into half. So we live in a smaller part of the house, we rent the other half. So we sacrifice a bit of space so that we can save up and keep our savings intact. It's not a huge budget, but we've done it through working really hard all our lives and saving it up ourselves. But what are you trying to find out, Woody? Let's start off again, Woody. Oh, it's rubbish, Woody.
You've always on flowers.
Oh, God.